Well, good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be back. George Morgan here at your service. It's PSGL, it's Wednesday night, it's Spain tonight as well. Lots on the table, lots of battling. The title contest is still alive and kicking. And Jack, it's only taken us 10 rounds. We're on the 11th. It's all to play for.
Boromant goes on the inside and takes the lead on the final lap of the race. Now it's side by side between Boromant and Warner, but Boromant's got the inside.
Star here in this phenomenal race. Cameron Dowd looking to take P2 in his very first PSGL F1 PC race. Incredible to say the least. You see that Putin still lead. 1.5 seconds.
Hello everybody and welcome back to PSGL F5. It is today the day where we can crown a champion, and let's quickly run you through how we've got to this point in the championship in the penultimate round of the season. Lights are on. And the Miami Grand Prix is go. Good reaction time from Tyus Korsman, and Tristan is pulling alongside them and he's going to challenge into the first corner. The leading two are side by side. Tyus Korsman has the better line and he is going to maintain the lead. It was very, very close though to the opening corner of the opening lap of the race. Alessandro Finn has had some issues. Victor Vidler is trying to keep Keanu Leitard behind, who was having a look to the inside line. Both Aston Martins going on the attack, but neither were successful as they all try and make their way through. You can see Julian up against Zerkias and Felipe Salzers. They battle their way through. Keanu Leitard makes his way up to third position. It's still Tyus Korsman trying to keep Tristan behind, who is in the wheel tracks, who is in the slipstream, and he'll have a chance to make this move easy, about to pull alongside his rival and try to take the lead, which he was trying in the opening meters, but he wasn't able to make the move. It's an absolute brawl out there behind though, and to the inside goes Keanu Leitard, forcing Victor Vidler out wide. Zerky is going to be in fifth position. He has a good he can really watch this battle right now play out in front of him, but through this tight and twisty part of the lap, it's hard to make a move himself, so he's stuck behind. So it is Tyus Korsman, Tristan and Keanu Leitard, the top three.
Yeah, really nicely done there by Tyus Korsman to stay ahead. But here comes Victor Riddler on Keanu. He's going to pull to the left-hand side of the Aston Martin. His teammate Felipe is going to try to follow him through as well. Maybe even move up into third place. Get 3 cars down this straight. A really nicely worked move there from Felipe. Used his battery wisely down that straight and was able to get in front of Keanu, Victor and Zerakai, and that really works out in his favour. And his teammate looking to try and get back past Keanu, who made the move into the final braking zone but isn't able to do so. Zerakai under attack here from Julian. Maybe here from Tristan, and yes, it's Tristan nearly puts it in the wall. As I say that, drops the rear through the chicane, somehow keeps that one out the wall. Really good car control from the Aston Martin driver, but drops him behind Felipe Salsa now.
Try something on this lap, as Seb is our first retirement of this Grand Prix in the pit lane.
And now has Danny called over the back from his Tristan, gets back past Tias. Those two just been swapping back and forth all race, as here comes Yelty versus Danny. Danny looking to the inside with Kuba and Marco as well, scrapping in front, as there goes the Alfa Romeo past the Williams. And a quite early move here by Tias Korsman, gets past Tristan, and also so does Felipe as well. Felipe moves up into second, Tias up into first, and Tristan down to third place. But all this swapping of places has brought Keanu and Victor Riddler into this race.
So, some thrilling action now in front of your eyes with Felipe Sousa fighting his way through. But is Tristan gonna let that one stand though? Because he's immediately in the wheel tracks, immediately using ERS to try get himself alongside the Mercedes man. And this will go down to the braking zone. Is he gonna be able to turn the outside line to the inside line? Let's see if he's gonna be brave around the outside line. Does the Mercedes man leave enough room? He does leave enough room. Now he's getting the inside line. We'll turn into the outside line once again. It's close to contact between the pair of them, but Felipe Sousa kept his foot in, and his reward is to keep the position at this
He is not going
stage.
to be close enough to make a move. Zach Miles, though, gets past Victor Riddler. Very nicely done there from the Alfa Romeo. And, yeah, this is going to be a big part of the race now. Of course, Victor Riddler, the first one in the top 10 to pick up a time penalty here. So if that keeps happening, that could be crucial as T.S. Korsman gets overtaken by Felipe, and Zach Miles is able to get past Keanu as well. But Keanu going to try and hold it round the outside of the Alfa Romeo. Can the Aston Martin get the job done? We also have T.S. getting a good run on Felipe Sousa. Zach was able to get the move done on the Aston Martin. Will Felipe manage to hold on? Yes, he will.
Absolutely, and you can see he's using a bit of ERS as well to try get there. He's going to get there, looks like, into the braking zone, unfortunately, and it kind of mean, oh, Felipe Sousa is going to keep his foot in there, and they've all lost a bit of time there. And Tristan now trying to go all the way around the outside line. Is this one going to pay off for him? He just gets ahead of the Mercedes. Opportunistic move, but all of them have lost time there in the battle because they were all held up, because they all went late on the brakes, and Tyres Korsman held up Felipe Sousa a bit. That gave Tristan the run all the way around the outside. So getting close. Once again, it does go down to the braking zone, they're losing time. Do remember that. So there could still be other people who play a massive factor in this race. Here comes Tristan. Is he going to go for the move to the inside line? No. And instead, look at Felipe Sousa to the inside. And he's got past, but he's very deep into the apex. And that's now once again going to hold them all up. But Felipe Sousa, Tristan are going for the move. And Felipe Sousa says thank you very much and takes the lead right now with a penalty, though, for both Mercedes drivers.
Not only Felipe getting past the Williams, the Alfa Romeo as well, as contact made between the pair. Tiers was forced into the wall, I think, there as well. That could have been race ending for the Williams.
Tyres Korsman, Keanu Leetard, all coming out in 9th, and going to be getting closer to Victor Riddler, so he might have to go for a double move here. Is he about to go all the way around the outside line, and is he going to risk it? It looks like he is going to risk it. Victor Riddler is keeping his foot in there, so he's not giving it up. This is going to get really, really tight to the wall, but the Mercedes driver doesn't give it up, and looks like Victor Riddler is going to hang on, but in a few meters time, Tristan will have another chance with the DRS into, and there's a change of lead. Zach Miles gets his way past Felipe Sousa. Those two, are they going to now dive it into the pits? Felipe Sousa all out of shape as he made his way through on the exit, and the battle continues. They're both into the pit lane, and Tristan now ahead of Victor Riddler, then Cryzix. But this is going to be really interesting then. Down towards turn number 1, Nicola Soro continues on. So who's going to be appearing? We're going to be looking for whoever appears in second. Felipe Sousa onto a set of the soft compound tires. Interesting stuff there. So it'll be Tristan in second, then it'll be Victor Riddler, then it'll be Cryzix, then it'll be Tyres Korsman, and then Keanu Leetard, Zerky, Jelty Korsman, Danico, Marco, Kuba, and they're all going to be coming out then right about now, and Mattia Ria will be in 15th position. Then it'll be Felipe Sousa, Alessandro Finn, and let's see, with a bit of fresher tyres, can these drivers all go on the attack now to try and chase down the drivers in front?
Will the Williams driver look for a lunge late on into this braking zone? He's going to look to the inside of the Alpine. He's able to get by, but nearly put him in the wall, and Danico also follows him through. Nicola Soro comes into the pit lane. We're nearly 2 by 2 heading down into turn 1 now, as with Kuba Wozniak versus Marco. They've got the Alpine of Zerakai in the way, and look at Marco to the inside of the Alpine and the McLaren. The McLaren follows him through, but Marco with a really opportunistic and audacious lunge down the inside.
As we see Felipe Sousa now get past Zerky, but could have been a bit of front wing possibly for Felipe Sousa. As you can see, Jelty Korsman making a move. Is there going to be any room for Marco though? He got boxed in momentarily. Now a gap has opened up for him to the inside line. He will be late on the brakes. Is he going to get this position? It's going to get super tight on exit. Danico trying to fight his way through as well. It's Kuba now, up alongside, and he's going to have a mega run to the first corner. Jelty Korsman's fighting his way through to the inside line on Marco. Kuba is going to be in there. Is Kuba about to risk one to the inside of both of them? Oh, that's so close to contact. How are all of these drivers still pointing in the right direction? It's Kuba in 9th, or is it because he's still having a go on Jelty Korsman? Marco's in 7th. I think we can confirm that at this stage. And around the outside line for Kuba, it won't work. Jelty Korsman gets his elbows out. It's Hassett, and then it's Danico still trying to find a way through, and he's diving to the inside of 2 drivers there. And how are these drivers still all pointing in the right direction? It's Hassett who will now have a chance with the DRS as well, and a bit of ERS, but he's not got much because he's drained so much in this battle. And Felipe Souza is in the mix. He's trying to find his way through cleanly, but it's so hard when there's cars all over the road. He's on the outside line, and he's trying to go round the outside line and use the grip on the soft compound tyres, and he's moved up to 10th. He's still got Kuba, Marco, and Jelty Korsman to pass though.
Here comes the Mercedes of Felipe. They could go 3 wide again into turn 1, and with Jelty Korsman and Kuba in it as well. Will the McLaren be able to lunge down the inside of the Williams? No, but Jelty goes wide. He locks the rear tyres, and Felipe manages to thread the needle and get past.
And here comes Kuba trying to get past Hassett. Is he going to be able to go round the outside? He'll have Marco as well for company down into the braking zone. He's going to go past a pair of them late on the brakes, but he's not made the corner in the way he would have wanted to. And Marco comes charging back round the outside line, and Hassett is trying to follow through as well, and he's going to get the inside line. Can they all keep it on the road? No, Kuba's been given a 3-second time penalty, and he's been mugged right now as we see Mattia Rio in the Red Bull fight his way through. And here comes Tyus Korsman. We're going 3 wide for the lead. Tyus Korsman trying to go to the inside line on the 2 of them. Kryzik takes the lead. Korsman takes 2nd, and Kryzik is wide to open the door. It's getting darker and darker. The racing is getting absolutely fantastic once again. They're banging wheels. It's 3 wide over the line for the lead of the Grand Prix, and Kryzik has got the inside line, but Tyus Korsman refuses to give it up. He goes storming round the outside line to maintain the lead. Here we go then. Tyus Korsman using a bit of ERS, and Tristan's pulled away a tiny bit, but now there's going to be DRS for Tyus Korsman to gain on his rival. He's going to be gaining, and he's going to pull alongside his rival. He's going to go to the inside line. He's going to take the race lead, but was that a bit too early? Because there is still one more DRS straight to go, and Tristan is surely going to stay close and try fight this one back. So did Tyus Korsman time it to perfection, or did he go a bit too early? Kryzik to the inside of Zach Miles, and they're going to cut the chicane, the pair of them, as they do battle over P4. Then pulling alongside, going to the outside line, trying to outbrake his rival. To Tyus Korsman's late on the brakes. Is he late enough? Watch Keanu Leitard. He's all out of shape. Tyus Korsman times it to perfection and comes out of the last corner and takes victory in Miami. It's Tristan in 2nd. Keanu Leitard completes a double podium for Aston Martin. Hello everybody and welcome back to PSGL. Hopefully you all enjoyed the highlights. They were incredibly long, but it was really hard to cut down it all with how much battling, as you would have seen. A lot of 3-wide action, a lot of battles between the drivers, and when it comes to a lot of battling, the circuit we're at today, Silverstone, has a lot of it and can be one of the best circuits for overtaking an action. So great point of the season now, the penultimate race of the season, and it's a race where we can crown a champion. In the commentary box, my name is Omi once again, and joining me in the commentary box is Max. Hello Max.
Hello everybody, I'm glad to be back, and we should surely be in for a very exciting race this evening.
We should as well. We're not going to waste any time because you might hear in the background that qualifying is underway. So we're going to quickly go through the results. As you can see, it was Tyus Korsman who took victory last time out. It was an absolutely incredibly it was an absolute incredible victory by him as well, and he took it on the last lap, and he took it on the first DRS straight that we had, and that is a big risk, but it paid off, as you would have seen in the highlights. Now it's championship day, possibly, for Tyus Korsman. He's got a 16 points advantage with 34 remaining in the last 2 races of the season. However, if it gets above 17, then he's going to be the champion as well. So as you can see, if he has a really great weekend, then it's pretty much over for everyone, but it is but do remember, anything is possible here in PSGL, and anything can happen. Here is the constructor standings as well, and it looks like Aston Martin are on their way ahead of Williams.
Yeah, big day here for TS Korsman, but as we head into qualifying, we have another hot lap for you today, so here you go. Here is going to be a lap of the Silverstone circuit. Everybody, and welcome to the Silverstone International Circuit. And here we are going to go through another hot lap here this evening around this magnificent racetrack, probably one of the most historic. And I'm in the Williams today because, of course, this evening TS Korsman can wrap up that championship. So heading into turn 1 now through Abbey Corner. Keep it flat out now as well through Farm Curve as you head into Village. Down to third gear. Try hit that apex nicely, and then you go into the loop. Try get the best run possible out of here. This can really affect your lap if you get a poor one through Aintree, and now opening up the DRS as you head through down the Wellington Straight, which will lead you to call some of the most famous on this circuit. Brooklands into Luffield. Some drive wider the line than what I have just done. But either way, that corner exit, very crucial as you head through Woodcut now and up the National Pitch Straight. A slight elevation up here. Don't really see it too much to the naked eye in the F1 game. Quite a steep elevation as you head through Cops and then in to Maggots. Then Beckett's down to 7th, then Chapel. That's 3 of the most iconic corners in Formula 1 history. Now down that Hanger Straight. This is crucial for the right braking point, going up to 210 miles an hour into Stoke. Braking as the curb starts, down to 6th gear, try get on the power quite nicely, and then heading down to the Vale Chicane, the final braking zone, down to 3rd gear, then you get a short shift up to 4th to try get the best run out of the corner as you possibly can, and to the line at Silverstone, a magnificent circuit, a track.
So you now join us back as we quickly show you the action zone. It was Mattia Ria going down to Brooklands corner as well, and it was Domi JD and Elliot Noren side by side into Cops corner. Some incredible racing put on by these guys, and this was Joris up the inside of 610 as he managed to make a move as well. But it's time to bring you to the action then on this circuit, as we can see Alessandro Finn right now, and Timo as he started his flying lap.
Get that on the board.
Absolutely. Apologies, everyone, and apologies to you, Max. No one actually heard you on that one. I forgot to unmute you. Apologies there, Max, and everyone, so you didn't get to hear his absolutely lovely commentary on that lap with Timo, but it was good enough to get himself up into first. It was, and then it became second, third, and fourth as the other lap times came in. So it's Victor Vidler, then Keanu Litard, Zerky, Tristan, and Timo, as Zach Miles now. He needs to be in that position to give himself the best chance of the title come Bahrain, and right now he is in P1 and he will need Tyus Korsman to not have the best of laps, and we'll actually watch Tyus Korsman right now, as it seems like, yeah, he's not on a lap right now, Tyus Korsman, so he may have had some issues, but Zach Miles needs to be in that position to have any realistic chance of the title, and he needs Tyus Korsman to be out of the points.
Yeah, he certainly does. That Miles is going to be a big evening for him, and Tius, I think he might have invalidated that first run. Obviously, not getting a time on the board could hurt his confidence slightly, but we know he is very good in these qualifying sessions. He can easily pull the lap time out of the bag when he needs it, and that is probably what is the strongest part of Tius Korsman, is that qualifying, gets him in the good positions for the races, and then he can just sort of either command at the front or make his way up slightly through the order, but nothing too far. But Tius Korsman, big qualifying session as well for him today, because of course, as you say, it's really really needs to do is outscore Zach Miles here, and he's going to be the champion. So it's going to be a session where Zach Miles needs to be on top form, which he is at the moment, just over a tenth quicker than Victor Riddler. And for Tius Korsman, he just needs to be up as high as possible and try just get the moves done in the race, or if not, maybe even take pole position.
Absolutely. So it's a trip back to the pit lane for him. Definitely not what he wants, and it's a trip back to the pit lane for him with absolutely no lap time on the board. Now, he did tell us a bit about qualifying and the race and his championship, how he's going to be going into these final 2 races of the season, and we can hear from him now.
I think the most important thing to this race is to get in the top 10 as a whole. As I think my quali pace is not there, but I think my race pace is very good. So the goal today is to, I think, get a top 6 finish, so that will make it easier to close it out in the final round. But I do think it's obviously optimal if I win the race, but I think there's not a big chance of that happening, but it's maybe doable. I'm just hoping to stay out of trouble and get some good points to make it easier for next week.
Great to hear from Tius Korsman there as well. He is, as we mentioned, in 18th position. Not got a lap time on the board. Same can be said about Menno, along with Danico and Seb as well, who is in the pit lane. But to quickly run you through the top 10, we have Zach Miles, we have Victor Riddler, Alessandro Finn, Snake, Felipe Salza. Also do keep an eye on him, because he is one of the championship contenders as well. So please do keep an eye on him, along also with Julian, who is in 9th position, because when it comes to second place, there is a lot of drivers who are in contention still, so anything can happen if there is a retirement for Tius Korsman and a lot of the other people in the rest of the top 10. Jelty Korsman, obviously being Tius Korsman's brother, Keanu Leotard, and Kryzix and Julian and Zerky, as they now all start heading back onto the circuit for their second runs.
Yep, so these second runs could be crucial, especially for the likes of Tius Korsman and Menno. Danny is on his, I think, first run of the session. I'll quickly just double check that. I think it is his first run. Yes, it is. It's going to be his first lap time that he will get on the board for the Alfa Romeo as he heads through Maggots, Beckett's and now Chapel. Nicely done through there. DRS Open, a 1 minute 1.9. A very nice middle sector there from the Alfa Romeo. Could maybe put him around about maybe the midfield spots from maybe Julian down. But now through Stowe Corner, the Alfa Romeo needs to hook up Vale nicely. Braking as the curb starts, getting the car turned in. Maybe a little bit of rear locking there. Car sliding out when he don't want it to. Now to the go through Club. Keep it to the right. And for Danico, it's good enough for 14th place, just in front of Hazif and only 2 milliseconds behind last time out podium sitter Tristan.
Yep, absolutely as well. And Danico is only points finish this season was in 5th position as well, and that was in the chaotic race in Las Vegas that we had earlier on, being the 4th round of the season. But absolutely everyone else, and when I say absolutely everyone else, it is everyone else on an outlap right now. We have every single car on the circuit, and we have Victor Riddler, who is going to be attacking this circuit in this run first. And he's obviously right now the nearest driver to Zach Miles, who is in 1st position. DRS now will go open for him as he makes his way down towards Brooklyn's corner. Great overtaking opportunity in the race, and you can see he's up by over a tenth of a second. He needs to continue that throughout the rest of the lap, and he's not going to be having the best. He'll definitely have a lot of improvement to be found if this lap is an improvement for him, because you saw the slide he had on the exit of Brooklyn's going into Luffield for him there. So not the best of corners for him, but he's going to continue pushing on. But if he does improve on this lap, he'll definitely know there's more time to be found, and we'll see if he's still up or has he lost all of the time. And you can see he's all out of shape there. Now DRS does go open, and he's now 3/10 back. So this is not going to be the lap for Victor Ridland. Will probably be him coming back into the pit lane, but there's still other drivers right now pushing on the circuit right now, like Felipe Souza.
Yeah, Felipe, Victor's teammate. This could be also a big qualifying session for him. Of course, still within that championship battle, just a few more points behind Zach Miles than he probably would have wanted coming out of Miami. And Felipe through that middle sector, up by nearly a tenth and a half, so he has found quite a bit of time. I think that was Tristan going up into 8th place there, just pipping his teammate to the top 8 places as Felipe now heading into the Vale chicane. He can he find enough time to maybe put himself here on to provisional pole? To the line for the Mercedes, what would it be? It's good enough for second place. Lost a bit of time in that final sector. Talking about provisional pole, what is the Alfa Romeo Zach Miles doing in that middle sector? He's down on his lap time. Tiers Korsman is coming to the line, your championship leader. He's not invalidated this one, and to the line he goes, and it's up to second place. Really nicely done by Tiers. He's only 100th behind Zach Miles, but Zach, of course, still on his lap. Could be time in this final part of the lap, and that is, I think, Alessandro Finn going up to 5th. No, it's Hasif to 7th, and Zach Miles does extend his gap at the top, but it's still by the barest of margins provisional pole. But Tiers Korsman and Felipe Sousa, 3 drivers all in the midst of a championship battle, hot on each other's heels.
The top 3 in the championship. The top 3 right now on the timing page for you as well. Incredible stuff. We have Zach Miles, Tiers Korsman, and Felipe Sousa. Mattia Ria, great lap time by him. Goes up into 4th position, and a second, not having a proper good second run for Victor Ridler has hurt him. Of course, let's see what Alessandro Finn can do. The Red Bull man makes his way now onto the Hamilton straight, and he'll be coming over the line. Kryzik finds himself to 3rd position. Alessandro Finn does not improve on that lap time. Hassett is down. Julian not finding anything, and right now we'll see. Menno is backed off, so it doesn't look like there's it doesn't look like we have anyone right now. Maybe Seb. He's now still he's pushing on, but he's just no, he's not. He's backed off there as well. Kind of looked like for a second he was still going for it. So, Zach Miles then, Tiers Korsman, Kryzik has been able to get in between one of the championship rivals as well. So it's still Zach Miles and Tiers Korsman together on the road. And this is going to be a very interesting start if we do have the top 3 in the championship together on the road. What a story that would be. But there's a lot of very quick drivers right now around this circuit. So anyone can spring a surprise at the end in the last one.
Yeah, they certainly can. I mean, it's only 3 temps covering the top 17. That's how close it is here in PSGL F5, and that really could be found in 1 or 2 corners around a circuit like this. It's so difficult to hook up a lap around Silverstone. One of the easy ones to get the hang of, but when it comes to hooking up a lap consistently and actually getting every corner bit by bit, just due to the amount of long straights there are on the brakes, your mind can sort of wander off slightly, and time can easily be found on this final lap, and it's going to be an interesting end here. Anyone can still get pole position. It's not ruled out for any of these drivers, even for the likes of Danico and Nicolo Soro at the back here. So Zach Miles, Tiers Korsman aren't only just looking at the drivers maybe 4 or 5 places behind them that still have a chance. They're now looking at 18, maybe even all 20 drivers behind, depending on how scruffy the laps were. So this is going to be one of those sessions where you need to get that lap in at the end. It's going to be the most crucial lap of your season, maybe, if you're the likes of Zach Miles. And it's just going to be a fantastic end to qualifying here.
It is going to be right before, as we have everyone in the pit lane getting ready. Let's hear from the man currently in P1. The question is, will he be P1 in the standings after Bahrain? Here are some of his plans as he hopes to be in that position come Bahrain.
Yeah, so the plan is tonight, good quali, top 5 hopefully, maybe top 3. And then in the race, I'm going to use my good race pace and hopefully a good strategy to try and get onto the podium, maybe a win. To try and claw back down that gap to Tyus Korsman and keep the gap behind as big as it possibly can be. And maximise my chances after some unfortunate issues with technical failures in previous races.
Great to hear from him there as the cars now make their way onto the circuit. And now all of them starting to make their way onto the circuit. The track is at its best. This is where now you're going to get the improvement and who's going to be able to find a crucial step forward. And you'll need it because there could be possibly some drivers who make some mistakes. So there can be drivers who have massive leaps as well.
Yeah, there certainly can. As we hit, this is where the track will be at its best, as you said, at its peak. And really, yeah, you need to get that lap in, especially with how close it is. Finding a 10th or 2 can easily bump you up, especially if you're like the likes of Yelty Korsman. If you find a 10th, that's you going up to 6th place from 12th. So, and 7th up a 5-place grid penalty for illegal blocking. So we probably will have a lobby restart for that one, unfortunately. But it will be Snakes in the Alpine to be the first one to set a lap time. The likes of Felipe, Tias Korsman and Zach Miles are all in the middle sector. But we will have Snakes starting his run. Cryzix has retired in the pit lane. He's not going to go for another lap. But if I actually find Snakes on my timing tower, here he is heading into the Vale chicane. The Alpine looking to maybe still snatch pole away from Zach Miles, but we have to wait and see as he now heads up the Hamilton pitch straight and into Abbey, which then leads you in to Farm Curve, keeping it in 7th gear. You can hear the engine whining with the power. He's gone very deep into Village, which then leads him into the loop. That probably is going to be lap over really for Snakes. He's going to carry on pushing on, but let's see how much he's probably going to be down by in that first sector. Zach Miles picks up a 5-place grid penalty for illegal blocking, but Snakes down by 0.2 of a second. I don't think he'll be able to find that time back up, as now Dustin picks up a 5-place grid penalty as well. Look at this at the final sector. It's just a backlog of cars. No wonder why they're picking up the penalties. But we do have a McLaren on the lap behind Snakes. It is Menno, who is down in 15th place. Can he spout a challenge at the top in this late stages of qualifying, as he now heads into the Magnificent and challenging as ever Maggots Beckett's, and then finally through Chapel. DRS open for the McLaren. He's down actually. He's losing 4 milliseconds on his previous lap time as he's now heading up into Stowe Corner, down to 6th gear for the McLaren. A bit wide from the apex, can affect his run out of the corner as he now heads down into Vale. Needs to be very brave on the brakes here and on the turning. Taking too much curb though through the first part of Vale. Snakes couldn't improve, but Menno to the line. What would it be for him? And he can't find an improvement either. His teammate Timo to the line. He goes up into 18th place as Keanu goes up to the provisional pole, and the times are starting to tumble as Victor Riddler goes up to 2nd. Zach Miles has invalidated.
That's not what he wanted at all. Tyus Korsman pushing on at the moment. Felipe Sales is in 6th, but a shock lap coming in by Keanu Leetard there. Let's see if anyone else is going to be able to find some time. Hassett is up by 25 thousandths of a second. We have Julian also making his way through the last corner now onto the Hamilton straight. Let's see if he can get himself into the top 10 as he comes over the line. He can get himself to 3rd. Great lap there when required by him. Jelty Korsman, Tyus Korsman improves to 2nd position. His brother goes into 9th, and now it's all as it looks like that's going to be the end of the session. We'll see if we have Seb who can do anything. Nope, he's not going to be able to do anything, but Keanu Leetard has been one of the stars of qualifying this season, still yet to get a victory. He's on pole again. It's his 3rd pole position of the season, and he's taken away right at the end, and he's gonna have the man who hopes to get the title right alongside him on the front row.
Yeah, that was a brilliant lap time there from Keanu, down in the lower points of the top 10 for the most of that session, but managed to pull the lap time out the bag when he needed it, and look at that gap. Not even a tenth separating that top 5. And for Zach Miles, who looks so really in control in that session, one mistake has dropped him down to 5th place, and 2 cars are in between him and his championship rival Tias Korsman. Tias in an absolutely amazing place here around Silverstone, and being ahead of all his championship rivals, that will probably do him a world of good right now.
Definitely will, as well as there's the full results for you. However, we are now going to go for a little break and get a word from our amazing sponsors. And well, we are going to get, I think, a lobby restart, but it's raining, so we're going to get a wet start to that as well. But we'll talk about all of that after we hear from our lovely sponsors at GT Omega.
Yeah, it's lobby restart.
So, welcome back, everyone. Now you can see us in the commentary box. We have a lobby restart, as you heard by Max right at the start. But we have a lobby restart. We have rain, and from what I can see, it's gonna become dry. So we have wet to dry. I think. Yeah. So I don't know if it'll dry up in time, but it's going to be really, really interesting to see. But Max, well, rain has come in, and that's going to completely change it all up at the race start.
It certainly is, and I mean, this is now going to throw a complexion into the race where maybe some drivers were on a wet setup, and that's the whole reason why they might have been slower in that qualifying session. So, yeah, it's now really going to be a test of skill, especially being on the full wets as well, not even just intermediates. And we can really see who shines in these conditions and really who has the best control of their car.
Absolutely. This is going to be absolutely amazing at the race start. I think we could get some interesting opening lap to the race, and I think an interesting I think it's going to be one of the most chaotic possibly races as well. And we were talking we were also talking about it with the highlights that Silverstone's going to cause some madness. We were expecting it in the dry, but we've had some wet now come in, and it's going to just give us a lot of lovely chaotic racing, which I'm sure you will like as well. Let's hope they all keep it clean, but that's an added curveball that Tyres Korsman surely didn't want. He just wants everything to go calm, him to probably have a race like Miami and wrap up the championship easily.
Yeah, it certainly is, and it's going to just add a whole new complexion to this one. Now, it might have looked like from qualifying, if you just sort of showed someone qualifying, that they would think, oh, Tias, he's probably got this one in the bag, really. He's ahead, and he's got good race pace, he's good at racecraft as well. But now this rain throws everything that I've just said out the window, because we don't know these drivers' pace. I don't know if you have had one so far this season, a wet race on me. I think you might have done around Austria, if I believe so. But this is just really going to now be all down to driver skill. And it's just going to be a matter of who can keep their car on the road. And as I say, all down to driver skill. So overtakes are going to have to be worked for, and will have to be really a challenge for these drivers to actually make the moves after the opening lap.
Yeah, so we didn't have rain in the race at Austria. We had it in qualifying, but I don't think we've had a wet race all season, actually. don't think there may have been a bit of some rain at a part of the race, but from memory, I don't remember really any raining too much. So there may have been a bit at some point in the race, but yeah, definitely not Austria, because I know that was just chaotic in the dry. I remember that one. So we have a bit of support coming in for Felipe Souza. Close gaps, yes, incredibly close, and that's why you should join us always in F5. And I'll tell you this, it's right now the closest tier streamed on PC in terms of the standings right now. So if there's any chance of it going down to the final race, even though we might be on the edge, we are the best hope you have of a title battle in the last race as well, as most of them are going to be decided today. And bit of support coming in for Tyus Korsman. So let us know who you are supporting, and do you think Tyus Korsman is going to be able to take the title today, or do you think it's going to go down to the last race? And also let us know your predictions for this race as well. But as we didn't show you, this is your venue that we are obviously at today, and an incredible circuit as well. 5.8 kilometers, 3.6 miles, 18 turns, of course, and we also do have the 2 DRS zones, but we aren't going to see it for the majority of the race, because from what I've seen in the Discord, it's gonna dry out at the end, but I don't even know if it's to a point where maybe a last lap of DRS, maybe a last few laps of DRS, depends how quickly it will dry up. But we could get a bit of, I think we could get, mostly it's going to be wet, and then a bit of dry possibly at the end, which means obviously we won't get much DRS. You might not even get dry at all. It all just depends on the weather for cast, and I think it's going to be also a race where we're going to see a lot of contact, unfortunately. So it's going to be crucial for Korsman. And also, even if you are near him, like Zach Miles, like Felipe Souza, like Julian, you still also want to try keep your nose clean at the same time. You can take a few more risks, but you want to keep your nose clean, because there's still hope. There's still hope of a possible title if it goes wrong for Felipe Souza today, and let's say Zach Miles picks up the victory. Then they're level on points, basically. If he doesn't get the fastest lap, they're level on points going into the last round. So it's definitely possible.
It certainly is, and I mean, around a circuit like this, as I say, it will be a challenge to overtake now, and as you say, more contact will probably be made. It'll be a bit more on the rubbing is racing side, as Dale Earnhardt would say, because...
You've mentioned that, haven't you, so far? In Spain, I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean... That is really what is going to happen in this race, because of course you're going to go for those moves, maybe a bit of a lunge, of course, especially being on the wet tyres as well. It's a heavy tyre due to the amount of water it has to clear out, and it's easy just to understeer into the side of your opponent. So it's going to be a race where it can throw everything up into the air, and with it being drying up as well, it adds strategy into it too. I don't know if it will dry up in time. Might do, actually, as you say, for the final few laps of this Grand Prix. But for someone like Zach Miles, all you really have to do is be aggressive on that race start, because you need to outscore Tyus Korsman. You can't leave today without it. So yeah, you've got to just be as aggressive as possible and try and get the moves done as quickly as possible and get up to the back of that Williams in the shortest amount of time. I know it sounds easy, but in the wet, and around this circuit in the wet, it is a tricky task due to how many slow speed corners there are. So it's definitely going to be an interesting one, and with the added aspect of it drying up as well, setups might play a big part as well. So we're now just going to have to wait and see. Of course, the drivers will now be able to make adjustments to their setup for these conditions. But we're going to go probably wet to inters to dries. And that strategy element, if you leave it out one lap too late or go one lap too early, it can ruin your race entirely.
Absolutely, and it could mean that you see your championship rivals battling over 1 point, 2 point, and it's not going to be as straightforward as it usually is in the dry, let's say, where they can all go a bit easy at the race start, and they could all kind of get in a bit of a rhythm and control it all the way through to the pit stops. It's not going to be like that. We're going to see a lot of weather changes, a lot of mistakes, because I doubt the drivers would practice for these conditions, especially with the chances as well this season that we haven't really got many wet running in. But right now you can see how wet it is, so it'll be full wets at the race start, and I'm sure it's going to be really exciting to see who's going to come out on top on this opening lap. I think it's going to get really tight, and a bit of wheel banging, and possibly some cars facing in the wrong direction.
Yeah, certainly is ever the possibility around a circuit in the wet. And you know what? I'm going to ask you it, Omi. I know I'm the co-com, and you usually ask me the questions. But
Yes, go for it.
do you think, now we know it's raining, Tias Korsman can take the championship?
I'm going to say no to that. I don't think he's going to take the title today. I'm hoping that he does. I think many of us as viewers are, because I think all we want is it to go down to the last race, unless you're obviously a Tyres fan, which some of you are as well. But I think a lot of us would want it to go down to the final race. It's always great. Who doesn't want a bit of a fight at the end as well? And Zach Miles needs to have an incredible race. That's for sure. Zach Miles needs to have an incredible race. If Tyres Korsman ain't gonna score, and then Zach Miles needs to get himself somewhere in that top 3 to basically not only have a chance at a title, but have a realistic chance of a title. Because as we mentioned, we gave you one of the scenarios. If he was to win the race and Tyres Korsman didn't score, then they would be tied on points, or he would be ahead if he managed to get the fastest lap. So there's definitely still a big chance. And here we go then. We're about to find out. It's a race that can decide the championship, and it's 5 red lights away. And PSGL is racing at Silverstone Circuit with a good reaction time from Keanu Leetard. He's going to maintain the lead. Tyres Korsman keeps second position. Are they all going to be able to make their way through the opening couple of corners of this one? And Zach Miles already going on the attack, diving to the inside of Julian as we make our way through. And it's going to be one of the Red Bulls. That is Mattia Ria going a tiny bit wide, but it's Keanu Leetard with the dream getaway. Tyres Korsman maintains second. Julian still battling away with Zach Miles, who is tapped the back, I believe, of Julian's rear wing as we now make our way down towards Brooklands. Is he going to be able to have a late launch to the inside? He knows he's got to take risks, and Victor Vidler is all out of shape, and Zach Miles trying to go around the outside. How brave is he feeling? Not brave enough to go the long way around. So as we look at the order, it's Keanu Leetard being chased by Tyres Korsman, Victor Vidler, Julian, and Zach Miles, the top 5.
Nicely defended there from Julian on the start. He knew on the outside there through Village that he could really get his foot down maybe a slight bit earlier than Zach, because of course Zach would have to wait for the room to open up, and he's managed to defend it into the loop, then through Brooklands. But the Alfa Romeo does seem to have more pace here, and Zach knows he needs to get this one done as quickly as he possibly can. Catch up to Victor Riddler, who's now 1.4 seconds behind the top 2, as here comes Tias Korsman for the lead. We also have Julian and Victor Riddler going side by side. Zach's even got the pass at Mercedes as well. Victor Riddler is going backwards here. He's not going anywhere further up the order, as Keanu Leotard as well has got back past Tias Korsman. But Victor Riddler into Stowe there broke well too early, I think, and it's just dropped down a good 4-5 places, and it's had a huge slide as well through Club Corner. Seb has retired on this opening lap after speeding in the pit lane. Julian is now 1.1 behind Tias Korsman, but Tias went for the move on Keanu, got it done into Stowe, but then the Aston Martin managed to go straight back down the inside into Vale.
Absolutely, Zerky diving to the inside of Mattia Ria as well, and he's moving up to 7th position. But one chaotic opening lap to the race. Tyres Korsman taking the lead, being passed in basically a few meters after, and Keanu Leetard retaking the lead, and then the battle for 3rd going on as well. How quickly can Zach Miles get past the Ferrari? That is going to be crucial. He needs to get up the road to Tyres Korsman as well. That's going to be really crucial for him as well. think we might have lost Max there. Is he still here?
Oh, I'm back. But I'm here. Yeah, I was saying that Zach is really all over the back of Julian here. He's really been the quicker car, and I feel like he might need to use a bit more of his battery. Of course, he's got about 40% of a difference over Julian at the moment. And, of course, in the rain, it is a little bit easier to build back that battery because, of course, you're on the brakes earlier, off the power a lot quicker, and you're not really pushing on the corner exits. You're just taking your time to get straight, and then you put your foot down. So it's going to be an easy one to build battery. It's not going to be one of those races where you have to manage it as much, but you do have to manage tyres. That's another big thing about being in the wet weather. Tyre management, not letting them overheat, is going to be crucial. So we're just going to have to wait and see how Zach Miles plays this one out as Tias Korsman is starting to be all over the back here. Maybe start hound and harass the Aston Martin in front of Keanu for that race lead. It's 1.6 between second and third. But at the moment for Tias Korsman, what he is doing is enough. He don't have to take too many risks at this moment in time as Keanu goes wide through Brooklands. This could allow Tias for a move down the inside in left field. He's seen the gap. He slivered down the inside, but will he be able to get it done? It's going to be side by side through Woodcote. Now up the national pitch straight as we head into Copse Corner. You would think Tias has this one, and he does. Really opportunistic, but Keanu not giving up too easily. He wants this race win for the first time this season, but the Aston Martin having to sit behind Tias Korsman, worked that one beautifully, saw the gap was opening, and then slivered down the inside once he saw it was enough for a car's width. And he's passed the Aston Martin, and this time it's not a few metres after that he gets re-overtaken, but it is looking like maybe a move into Stowe the Aston. No, he just has to sit behind. So Tias Korsman getting the move done there on lap 3 of 26.
Absolutely, getting the move done as well. So it's now Tias Korsman in P1. Julian still keeping Zach Miles behind as well. And we had Matty Ria was also battling and still is battling because Zerky's all out of shape. And Matty Ria's found a gap down the inside, has he? Yes, he has. And Zerky's been forced off a tiny bit wide as well. When we saw that move coming in, Keanu Littard still following very closely. Zach Miles following very closely to a point where he's diving to the inside to try and get past Julian. He will brake early to try and get the up and under, and now stand on the power to try and make this move. Julian all out of shape, and so is Zach Miles. Now let's see, can he use a bit of ERS to try and make the move into Brooklands Corner? No, Julian's just going to hang on, and Zach Miles still finds himself stuck behind the Ferrari right now as Tias Korsman and Keanu Littard continue with an over 1 second gap, and it is Julian in third, Zach Miles, Kryzik, Victor Riddler, and then Matty Ria's also lost that 1 second as well with all the battling he's had with Zerky, and then we have Hassett and Felipe Salza right now, the top 10 as well, but they're all following incredibly closely. And now let's see, is Zach Miles going to be able to do anything? Remember, there's no DRS, so overtaking can be a bit more harder, and we talked about it before the race as well, quite a bit of how hard some of the overtakes can be for the drivers, and it means that you really have to use a lot of ERS. You can see that's exactly what Zach Miles is doing to have a fighting chance. Is he going to be able to dive to the inside? No, so he's going to be stuck behind then through this part of the lap, and you will need to hope for a little wiggle, a little slide, and a tank slapper for the Ferrari, which will open the door for Zach Miles. Because remember, there still can be more mistakes in the wet conditions. That's the advantage that you could have, but you have to make sure that you're not the one who's making it, and it's your rival who you're pressuring ahead who is making those mistakes. And Zach Miles closing in. Maybe he thinks that going into Village is the best opportunity for him, an inside line dive on, but it won't be on this lap. So I think possibly he might try set this one up down to Brooklands Corner.
Yeah, it could certainly be. I feel like he is maybe trying to bait Julian into using his battery, because Julian is now down to 41%, and with that is really going to affect his pace later on in this Grand Prix. I did say it's easier to build back that battery, but when you're under this much pressure and you're constantly using it, it's not going to be good at all. As Zach Miles might have just forced Julian to go a little bit wide, maybe Tias Korsman-esque, but no, Zach Miles has to sit behind the Ferrari, well defended there, doesn't slide up the racetrack and open the door for the Alfa Romeo. And to be honest, Zach Miles does have to look from behind as well. Kryzik, Victor Riddler, and Mattia Ria are all behind him there. So he's not only attacking, he's having to maybe look in his rears every so often. They've got the AlphaTauri behind him in a very dangerous place. So for Zach Miles, it's not only attacking here that could be crucial, it's defending as well as we now head down the hanger straight for the 5th time in this Grand Prix. We're seeing the Alfa Romeo get closer and closer to the back of the Ferrari, but not going to make the move. He looks like he's trying to get a good run out of Stowe, then down into Vale, as we see Keanu and Tiers Korsman into the pit lane, and this is surely going to be a move for the intermediate compounder tyres.
Absolutely has to be. So a lot of pit stops now starting to come in, but it's mainly right now your top 2, but you'll see a lot of other drivers who are diving it in as well. We have Hassett who has dived it into the pit lane. So 3 drivers right now you can see have dived it into the pit lane. This is now the battle for the race lead for the time being. So we are going to see how much Tyres Korsman does gain as well. But keep an eye on Zach Miles, who is going to try and make the move. And now onto the Wellington straight. He sees the Ferrari all out of shape, and that gives him the opportunity to pull alongside. And Zach Miles, a move he's been trying. Is it finally going to happen for him? It might happen now, because Julian's run out wide to not only lose out to Zach Miles, but to lose out to the AlphaTauri momentarily off Kryzik, but he manages to recover and fight back, and is Kryzik. Now this is going to allow Zach Miles to get away. That's exactly what he needs, but these guys have lost time, and Julian just stays ahead as we go down to Copse Corner.
Really nicely done there from Zach Miles, forced Julian wide, and with that, Julian slid even further wide, going too late on the brakes into Brooklyn's. Tiers Korsman he's actually sort of fluctuating in time found on Zach Miles. He's lost a bit there on corner exit at Luffield. So has he pulled the trigger too soon? That is going to be the question. Here comes Kryzik on Julian. He's gone for the dummy. He looked for the outside, now to the inside. And Julian once again sliding wide. And that's really crucial for his Grand Prix. He's down to 8% battery now as Zach Miles pulls into the pit lane, reacting to the Williams and Aston Martin of Tiers Korsman and Keanu Lieto. So now we see how far back he will come out to the top 2 who boxed. But I do think maybe slightly Tiers Korsman and Keanu Lieto jumped the gun there. But with it being such a long pit lane, you can easily find that time back up come the end of the lap. It could have been just them warming up their tyres, and they're struggling as Tiers Korsman with a massive slide through the final corner. But let's see where Zach Miles comes out, and he is dropped quite a way behind due to being stuck behind Julian, and they're heading into the village corner while he is just exiting the pit lane.
Yep, absolutely, as well as now we see Zach Miles obviously having to cover off his rival as soon as possible, because he knows he's got to cover off his title rival. We see Zerky up against Dustin, and are they about to go side by side into Copse Corner now? Here we go. Dustin backs out and makes the sensible decision right there as well. But keep an eye obviously on Tyres Korsman compared to Kryzik. We've obviously put it on the leader for you so we can compare the gap to the driver right now with Clean Air. And obviously there's no DRS or anything, so he's not stuck behind, or he right now probably is one of the fastest drivers on the circuit, so great to compare to him as well. But as you mentioned, this could be a race, well, it is a race that is going to Inters, but it could be a race that soon goes to dries in the latter stages. So a lot of crucial decisions the drivers have to make in this race, and that's definitely not what Tyres Korsman would have wanted. Few more pit stops coming in. The top 2 stay out. We have Victor Ridline, we have Mattia Ria in, and then we have a lot more drivers as well coming in, and it seems like the Inter's getting better and better now, and it's going to mean that more drivers are going to now start to come in to make sure they don't lose out too much time.
Yeah, the thing is, what Kryzik and Julian might do is, if it won't take too long till we dry, it's Tiers Korsman. Oh, big save there. Code Brown there for Tiers Korsman. He says the fastest lap, but with a huge slide through the club corner as well. So you probably need a new pair of underwear after that one, because that was risky. And I was going to say, what Cryzix and Julia might do, even the likes of Nicolo Soro, is stay on these wet compound tyres all the way to the dries. I know it sounds a bit ridiculous, but when you've got nothing to lose, like Yelty Korsman, Tia's his brother, you might have to try it, but look how slow they're having to crawl round the Luffield corner there, now through Woodcote. They really are going to be bleeding time as well now, so we have to wait and see what they would do. I would say maybe we could see the track dry up by lap 15, and we'll see from there. So at the moment, T.S. Korsman is your provisional race leader, followed by Keanu Lieto, and then Zach Miles. Hazif is actually now, thanks to that early box, into a provisional P4 after really being nowhere at the start of this Grand Prix. He has gone up a total of what would be about, I think, 6 places or so. His net plate. Very nicely done there from Hazif to climb this far up the order.
More pit stops though coming in, and yeah, great stuff as well by him as Victor Riddler now makes the move and moves up to 10th position on the road at the moment though, because remember we still have a few more drivers to come in. The top 2 continuing on, both Alpha Tyrus continuing on, fastest lap still being set by Tyus Korsman, and yeah, maybe they are going for something different, the top 2, but obviously they've decided to stay out Jelty Korsman in as well.
Yeah, Keanu has just gone really wide at Abby. It seems like he's starting to struggle here on his intermediates, maybe overheating or just not really clicking with them. And that's going to allow Zach Miles to get closer. Sorry to interrupt you there, Omi.
No worries.
But both AlphaTauris staying out at the moment.
Yes, absolutely. Right now, and yeah, Tyus Korsman getting the gap right now at the moment, and Zach Miles is going to want to get past Keanu Leetard as soon as possible because he does not want anyone in his way. He does not want anyone wasting his time at all, because right now Tyus Korsman getting up the road while Zach Miles is stuck behind Keanu Leetard, who isn't having the same pace that he had on the full wet to maintain the lead or even stay with Tyus Korsman. You can see he has lost quite a lot of time, and Zach Miles knows that if he wants any chance at a title, he needs to beat Tyus Korsman this race. And let's see now, how quickly can he get rid of the Aston Martin right now that stands in his way, as these guys right now doing battle over P4, but this is a net 2nd place in the Grand Prix.
Yeah, this is going to be crucial for Zach Miles. Of course, got less battery because he has to use it to gain up to the Aston Martin. But if he puts the Aston under a lot of pressure into Abbey, he can maybe force the same error we saw last time around. T.S. Korsman still putting in fastest laps, but it's been beaten by Zach Miles, and I think by a few tenths or so. And Victor Riddler nearly goes a whole second quicker than them. So Victor Riddler on these intermediates with a bunch of pace here, and could maybe, within the next few laps or so, be all over the back of not only maybe Zach Miles, but Keanu Lieto as well. So we've got to see how these drivers cope with these conditions as it's getting drier and drier as each lap goes by, because the rain is weakening and weakening. The intensity is going to pretty much come to a standstill within the next few laps. So we'll have to wait and see what will happen, and who went for what strategy at the beginning of the Grand Prix, because that will then be a big deciding factor on what is about to happen. T.S. Korsman now all over the back of his first victim here in the Grand Prix. It's going to be Nicolo Soro looking to the inside, and Nicolo Soro knows he'll hold up the Williams up too much, and will just let him through. So Nicolo Soro, nice sportsmanship there from the AlphaTauri, knowing that he can't fight that one, and just letting the Williams car through. And your championship leader sort of just goes off into the horizon for Nicolo Soro there.
Into the pit lane comes Cryzix, so the net race lead will be the lead on the racetrack very, very shortly for Tyus Korsman as well, as we also see Nicolo Soro, so both AlphaTauris diving it into the pit lane. Tyus Korsman with another fastest lap in this race. Intermediates going on, of course, for Cryzix, and big thank you to everyone right now. And I've just seen we've hit the highest viewership we have all season long live here as well. So great to see that everyone's sticking with us. And right now we're just at a building point as Jelty Caldwell sets the fastest lap. We are at a building point to stick with us, and there's going to be a lot of challenging moves that drivers will have to make. And one of the crucial ones, Zach Miles up against Keanu Leotard. So make sure you stick with us all the way till the end to see whether Tyus Korsman is going to take the title, or will there be any more twists, which there will be, because remember, the track is going to be drying, and there could be safety cars. There still could be a lot of chaos, so make sure you stick with us all the way till the end of this race. And then also after that, we will be able to maybe get an interview with one of the drivers, depending on who is able to in our top 3 as well. But Zach Miles right now, Keanu Leotard losing a few more tenths, but not as much now. But I'm sure Zach Miles still wants to get past. You can see he's using ERS as well to get close. So this could be the move coming up for the Alfa Romeo man. And Keanu Leotard just parks it in the middle, goes over a bit to the inside line, and that kind of ruins Zach Miles' momentum. And it means that he's still going to be sitting behind through the last sector of this lap and making his way onto lap number 12.
Yeah, this is now really starting to get crucial here for Zach. He's losing a lot of time to Tyus Korsman up in front, who doesn't set the fastest lap this time around. But I think that time might have still just been quicker than the Alfa Romeo. He's got to look out for Victor Riddler behind as well. He's gaining at a rate of knots. I say that, he makes a mistake and goes a little bit wide through Abbey. But now Zach might be able to set this one up. He's going for a late move up at the loop. There's contact made between them. It's tough but fair. It's kind of like a push to pass. Keanu has to concede the position. And Zach Miles really was a bit more committed through the village and loop section. He moves himself up into second place. And now the hunt begins. Tyus Korsman started off this race in second and was the one that was being the hunter. He's now going to be the hunted in this Grand Prix, because that Miles has a point to prove. And now he will do everything to catch up to the Williams car in front of him.
Yeah, there wasn't going to be a simple move for Zach Miles. He knows that he had to do something brave, and that was brave at a point where Keanu Leotard would definitely not expect it as well. And he was able to catch him out, and he was able to move up to second. And now let's keep an eye on the gap. 2.6 seconds. And if there's no safety cars or interruptions, or if obviously when we do move, the gap remains the same between them, he has to gain a bit more time. He's got to gain at least 1.3 seconds as well to get the DRS, and then he'll just naturally gain a bit more with the 1 second. But yeah, Cryzix, who made a pit stop just a lap ago, and yeah, a bit of a weird strategy there for both of them, as we see Tristan and Danico battling. And oh, take a look, Dustin fastest lap of the race. Well, first of all, take a look at some of the racing that we have going on right now, but also take a look, what I was referring to was Tyus Korsman and Zach Miles. 2 second already the gap. It's coming down and down, so Zach Miles is onto something here, and all he needs to do right now, if we finish like this with Zach Miles and Tyus Korsman, as we see Victor Riddler picking up a penalty, that's unfortunate for him. But if we do see Tyus Korsman and Zach Miles basically just swapped around, but finishing in this, but the rest of them finishing in this order, then this would mean that Zach Miles is going to be in title contention still, and it's great to have both championship contenders, I have to say, at the front of the field. And Zach Miles knows it's going to be crucial, because if he finishes in first and Tyus Korsman's in second, the title goes on to the final race.
Yeah, it certainly will. And look, it's now 1.4. Zach Miles at the moment is flying. He's really being able to hustle that Alfa Romeo around the magnificent racing circuit here. And it's just now all going to be down to the entire fact of, yes, Zach is using a lot of battery. If he's able to get past, though, is he going to be able to pull away? As Mattia Ria gets past Hazif there, who's driven a brilliant race at the moment as the Haas driver, as Danico and Tristan going side by side. Now, there's contact. Tristan sent into a slide. A really good save, actually, by the Aston Martin to keep that car pointed in the right direction. And Tristan goes from 11th place down to 14th. But a really good correction there from the Aston Martin to keep that car in a straight line. But look at Zach Miles. It's now, I reckon, by the end of this lap, going to be half a second maybe.
Absolutely. This is incredible stuff by Zach Miles. He really wants to win this title, and he's doing all he can to give himself a chance. This has been absolutely fantastic. How quickly he has closed in the gap. And he's still going to be closing it in, and then he'll try and have a go for some moves. Action continues. To the inside goes Timo with a nice easy pass there for him on the brakes, and he's now going to be behind his teammate, almost inside of 1 second between the top two. There you go. It is inside 1 second, and it was almost 3 seconds at one point. And now the gap is almost inside 1 second. It is inside 1 second. Bit of ERS being used for Zach Miles, because obviously this has required him to use a bit of ERS. But the main thing for him is he's got pace, he's in the battle, and now what he needs to do is just sit behind and charge the ERS. Even he doesn't even need to make the pass. At least now he's on the back of Tyus Korsman and now has a big chance to finish ahead of him.
He certainly does. Tyus Korsman has been really struggling on the traction zones. He's been really slidey here. And I've just compared their lap times. And Zach Miles on that lap, 4 tenths quicker than Tyus Korsman. He's hustling that Alfa Romeo. He knows he has the pace. He knows he has the time in the bag. And of course, we wasn't able to see what he could do with his final qualifying run due to him invalidating. So he could have had enough pace for pole position. As we now head through Aintree and now on to the Wellington straight with the Alfa Romeo. He's using his battery. He knows he's getting closer enough. But even if he does make the move now, he has so much pace in his car that he might even be able to pull away here as Kryzix is able to get down the inside of Felipe Sousa there, who of course is in the championship battle, but at the moment is going to be eliminated after what has been a very poor British Grand Prix, but on his standards this season. But Zach Miles further up, 4 tenths, just under half a second is the gap that separates the top two. He's used a lot of his battery though. He now needs to charge it at least, I would say, until 30%. For now, until the pit lane, because the pit lane will gain you about 30% as well due to how long it is. So he really needs to start charging that battery, stick within the slipstream of the Williams, and keep gaining and gaining. It's still raining here in Britain as Victor Widler, goes round the outside of Keanu Liato. Will he be able to get the move done? It's side by side. He's used the battery on the exit. They're still side by side. Keanu just about leaves him a car's width as Victor round the outside. Will he be able to pull it off? He has the superior traction. He has a slide as well. Keanu has to drop down to 4th. Victor Riddler, what a move that was around the outside on the exit of Vale. And to keep it as calm and composed as he was, Victor Riddler, take a bow for that one. What a move.
What a move indeed. Can Keanu Lita do anything to fight back? And Victor Riddler going all in and making the move. He has come alive as well. Absolutely lovely stuff by him there. And he's been incredible. Absolutely incredible. In Spain, Miami, in the last 2 rounds, once 2024 has started, he's been absolutely phenomenal this season as well. He was obviously able to get 4th in Spain, and then it was a podium last time out in Miami for him. So great stuff. That was obviously in qualifying, but then in the races he was he has been very good as well. He got a second in Spain, and then in Miami it was still 6th. I was accidentally reading out the qualifying stuff for you. His qualifying form there, but he has been incredible after the holidays there, and right now still 0.6 of a second. So we are starting to see Zach Miles do what we were talking about. Absolutely incredible stuff, how he's been able to close this gap in, and now he's in the battle, and now he's going to be charging his ERS and then having a go at Tyus Korsman. But some great pace shown by Zach Miles, who's fighting all the way till the end.
Yeah, Zach Miles now building that battery like we said he should. It's up to about 40%, so he is managing to find that battery he needs, but he knows he's got a lot of pace in that race car. He can really hustle it as Dustin, Vincent and Julian going side by side through Abbey and now Farm Curve. That's really brave there from Dustin to go down the inside there. He's actually forced Julian wide. He's locked up, I think, gone too late on the brakes. Julian now could get the run out of the loop. Another championship for hopeful is really struggling in this Grand Prix, just like Felipe, but he's still going side by side with Haas. There's more contact made. Julian, though, to the inside. He's surely going to get this one, unless Dustin can do the switchback, which he's trying, around the outside through Luffield, sliding all over the shop, but cannot get the move done, or can he with the battery? But I think Julian will just win out, heading up into Copse Corner. Dustin looking for the move, but won't be close enough. And Julian just about stays ahead. Really well defended from the Ferrari after being forced off at the village, and the Ferrari of Julian now up stays in 7th place, but really is struggling, and Cryzix is catching up to the 2 cars in front with 3 lap fresher tyres than the Haas car in front of him.
Absolutely, and yeah, that was Dustin getting his elbows out as well, and we now have a pit stop, and it was the man who was in the race lead. Tyus Korsman has come into the pit lane, and now what is he going to be going on to is my question. You can see the rain still falling around this circuit. Here we go then, he's going to get into his pit box, and it's going to be another set of intermediates for him.
Oh, this is risky for Tyus Korsman. He's obviously hoping it doesn't dry up, but it's still a very bold strategy for the Williams drivers. Zach Miles now inherits the race lead. Of course, it's still raining here, but it should dry up near the end of this Grand Prix, and I feel like these guys will be able to take their intermediates all the way to the end of the Grand Prix. Usually, you need to make a pit stop on the intermediates around a circuit like this, around about the time you would on a normal strategy for a medium hard or a hard medium. So it's going to be a tricky one. I feel like these intermediates will make it to the end. I am known roughly as someone that does like the wet conditions, so I do know the tyres a bit better than I would maybe the slicks around this circuit. So I think these intermediates will make it to the end. It's a big call here from Tyus Korsman, now having to work his way through all that traffic, and also he now has to hope it doesn't dry up or it's game over for him as Cryzix gets past Dustin into Stowe. The Haas fighting back now. He's actually, I thought he was going to go into the pit lane as well there, but no. Sitting behind the AlphaTauri, probably was just doing that out of avoidance. And Cryzix up into 7th place, but Tyus Korsman going for a real risky strategy. He's pulled the trigger, but the question is, will the shot hit?
Absolutely risky stuff by Tyus Korsman, because also remember, he's going to have to pass absolutely everyone, and there's a lot of drivers as well. And what I mean by pass, he's going to have to pass quite a bit of drivers, like Danny Coe is attempting to do on Zerky as well, but he's going to have to overtake. He's going to get held up as well. There could be contact. Very risky when, as you've seen the racing right now, there's been a lot of elbows out, there's been a lot of wheel banging, risky stuff by him, because he's also going to be in battles. He could spin, he could crash, anything's possible. Danny Coe to the inside line of Zerky. He was trying this move earlier on, a few corners ago, and he's finally got it into Brooklyn's corner. He moves up to 10th, Zerky down to 11th, and he's now going to have his teammate for company as well. And I saw some of these guys talking. Well, let's see. Here we go. Is he going to allow his teammate through? Yes, he is. I saw these guys all talking in the waiting room when I was getting some of the pre-race interviews ready. I saw these guys, Snake and Zerky, both in the call with Keanu as well. And obviously Tyus Korsman was in there. So saw a few conversations, so I'm guessing obviously these two working well as always together, both of the Alpine pairing. Zerky knows that Snake might be better at this stage of the race, allowing him to move up, and it's now Dustin, Cryzix all onto the back of Julian, as we mentioned, one of the championship contenders, and he obviously took victory in Spain after Exafox was given a 3-second time penalty, and Fox isn't able to compete for the rest of the season as well, if anyone is wondering where he is, as he's obviously gone missing from the grid. But one of the strong drivers this season is Tyres Korsman, as he should be, setting the fastest lap of the race on those compound of tyres. And if we look to Tyres Korsman, he's got cars ahead of him that he needs to pass, and is he gonna be brave to the inside line? He is gonna be brave to the inside line. We're gonna be seeing a lot of that, a lot of overtaking by this man, but the thing is, it won't always be as easy as that, and he's taking risks which could lead to the reward of getting past drivers quicker, but could also mean that he's facing in the wrong direction, as we see Menno getting past Zerky.
Yeah, this is where we need to see a champion's drive from Tyres Korsman if he wants to really even score big points, because look at the gap between Dustin and Felipe. It's 5 seconds. That's going to be a hard task to close down, especially when you still have to pass a good more than that, a good 9 cars in front of you before you even get to that 5-second margin. So it's going to be a really tricky task here, I think, for Tyres Korsman. He's all over the back of the Alessandro Finn, getting held up.
Oh.
Look at that for a move!
Ooh.
What a lunge by Tyres Korsman. A little bit of a contact as well for Boot, but I don't think it will affect him too much. Victor Riddler coming into the pit lane now. He's also pulled the trigger. I mean, he could have been on for a 3rd place here. He's just got to hope these tyres hang on for the likes of Zach Miles. It's not, you can't box now if you're Zach. You've just got to commit. You've got to commit to it. And as it stands, the track is slowly getting drier and drier. Victor Riddler onto a set of the soft compound tyres. And now this race will start to get interesting. We have now both the wets and the slicks on circuit. Will Victor Riddler
Here we go.
be able to pull this one off? The track is certainly getting drier. The rain is stopping. It's come to a pretty much of a standstill at the moment as the rain. And we could be in for a very interesting final few laps of this Grand Prix. Has Victor Riddler done an absolutely mesmerising strategy? Oh, and the brothers make contact!
Oh! Jelty Korsman! Wow.
He was letting his brother through. I don't know if he moved over or he has moved over, but there's contact made between the brothers, and Yelty is sent into the spin, and the rain has stopped.
Wow.
We could see us go to slick tyres here, and Tyres Korsman's race could be in the bin. He might have shot himself in the foot with that pit stop for the intermediates, the fresher tyres. He's down in 14th. Stuck behind Timo and Zerkai, who's now going to go for a move on the McLaren, who's had a big slide and just about able to save it there. He's now going to go on the attack on the Alpine as well, who's letting him through there. So maybe, as you say, that conversation earlier on in the chat might have helped them out in that one, as Menno into the pit lane as well now. And so I think is Zerkai as well. So we're going to see drivers moving over to the softs. Zach Miles needs to time this one perfectly. I would say it will go to dries within the next lap or so.
The British Grand Prix has come alive, and after a pretty calm race, and we've had contact made, and round goes Kryzix, who I believe made contact there with one of the Haas drivers. Might have been Dustin, as we have Julian picking up a penalty, but the race has come alive, and we just saw contact at the bottom of our screen. And now it's getting aggressive. A lot of drivers going on the set of the soft compound of tyres. It's once again time to put it back to the leaders to see whether this 41.4 second gap is going to start coming down as well. And Tyres Korsman right now is in 10th position. He's been making his way through, but that was a dramatic moment, the contact that he had with his brother. But luckily, he only sent his brother to a spin, not himself. And if it did cause him to spin, then that would have been a bit more disastrous for him. Jelty Korsman picking up a time penalty there. And now Tyres Korsman really going on a bit of a different strategy, and it doesn't look like it's going to be enough, but there still could be curveballs, but it's not going his way. We said it was going to dry up. It looks like it is drying up in the latter stages of this one, and the question is though, is the soft runners going to be able to make a difference. And we're surely going to see some drivers staying out. Julian's coming into the pit lane though, so he's going to be diving it into the pit lane, but we're going to have some drivers staying out and some coming in. And when we talked about this would be a race where you have to make the correct strategy decisions, it looks like Tyres Korsman may, as he's now going to try get past Snake into Abbey corner, and Snake is just going to back off and let that move happen. We said that the decisions were going to be crucial. They absolutely have been in this race, and it might mean that Zach Miles not only leaves Silverstone, depends how much Tyres Korsman can make overtakes, because there's still laps to go. He might even leave it with a good chance of actually winning the title next time out in Bahrain.
Yeah, he certainly can. Here comes Tyres Korsman now on Danico. The Alfa Romeo might actually want to help his teammate out slightly here, but he can't compete with the amount of purchase and grip the Williams has. And I don't think those soft compound tyres have worked, because look at that. Julian and Tristan has nearly come out in front of Victor Riddler. And the track, I would say, is still too wet for it. It's still too wet. It's still somewhat picking up spray. There's still tyre tracks. And I feel like the intermediates on the tyre to be on, it's all going to come down to how much the track dries in the next 3 laps. If it's enough where the intermediates pretty much fall off the face of the earth, then Julian might have a chance to climb himself back up the order. But it's just not looking like it's drying up at all. As here comes Tyres Korsman on Felipe Salsa. He's got to go to the inside, get the move done. He's up into 6th place now. He's got to try catch up to Dustin and Hasif in front. They need to maybe defend here, but Zach Miles out in front, commanding his way through this. But Tyres Korsman, I feel like, has cost himself a race win here because he went in for that pit stop, and he's cost himself, I think, a chance at winning the championship this evening.
Yep, absolutely. Anything is still possible. 3 laps to go though. And yeah, these soft tyres have not worked, because it was 41 seconds at one point between Victor Riddler and your race leader. It now is 51 seconds. So definitely not working out for them as well. But now looks like Zach Miles is on his way to victory if everything goes right in the last 3 laps. But what a race we've been treated to. Amazing stuff. It's been one of those calm ones, but it's been interesting all throughout.
Yeah, it certainly has. And I mean, the track is now starting to dry up slowly. But again, it's just not doing anything. We're at this stage where it's stopped raining, but nothing's happening to the circuit. It's not getting wetter, it's not getting drier. It's just at a place where it's just hovering at this point of wetness, and you just can't really do anything about it, unfortunately. So, I mean, that is the game itself as well, to be honest. It should be getting a lot drier than this over the past few laps, especially that we've had about now 3 or 4 laps of dry running. So, again, it's just really the game and how it doesn't really dry up too quickly. As here comes Danico round the outside of Felipe. Can he get the move done? Yes, he can. Really nicely worked move there from the Alfa Romeo. The Mercedes tries fighting back, but Danico late on the brakes, able to keep 7th place after gaining it just a corner ago. Tyres Korsman gaining slightly on Dustin in front of him, but I don't think he'll gain enough in the next 2 laps to actually have an opportunity at the Haas car in front, unless something drastic happens to Dustin Vincent. But I feel like the 2 Haas drivers are actually gaining slightly on Zach Miles. It was 7 seconds on the last lap. It's now down to 6.7 between Zach Miles and the likes of Hasif and Dustin Vincent. As actually, here comes Dustin. They swap the cars around, and Hasif now demotes himself down to 5th.
Absolutely. As Zach Miles continues to lead. Battle still goes on though for 2nd position in the race. Mattia Ria has fresher tyres than Keanu Littard, and he's going to try and take 2nd position at the end. But what a day for Zach Miles if he can survive the final lap of it and the rest of this one as well. What a day it will be for him, but the battle will still rage on for 2nd. We have obviously the Haas drivers. They won't fight for 4th position. We're going to have Tyres Korsman gaining possibly on... he might get past Hassett. That might be one thing that goes on there. And then Danico trying to keep Felipe Salza behind. And the soft drivers doing battle amongst themselves. Here we go, though. Here we go. This is the battle for 2nd position in the race. And this is Mattia Ria trying to brave it out around the outside line. But that has cost him time, actually. So that's cost him time, and he's lost a lot of time there trying to make that move because he was incredibly wide. And we are going to go then on to the last lap, and it's going to be a long last lap for Zach Miles, but he is only 5.8 kilometers, 3.6 miles away from getting, as Tyus Korsman does get past Hassett, but Zach Miles only has this lap remaining until he is going to be back in championship contention. Victor Vidler picking up a penalty, but he's obviously on the soft compound tyres, skating all over the road. But this is now going to be the crucial battle on this last lap. Keanu Litard and Mattia Ria doing battle over second place, and this is going to get really tight between these two drivers. There is no DRS unless it opens right before we get onto the Hanger Straight. Mattia Ria will have to do it all on ERS. If we look at their ERS, Keanu Litard has a tiny bit more, but Keanu Litard used a bit down this straight, which is kind of made it equal now, as Mattia Ria will make his way through Copse Corner, and Maggots and Beckett are going to be crucial corners in this race for Mattia Ria if he wants to move up to second. If these guys have contact, there still could be an opportunity for Dustin, and possibly Tyus Korsman as well, and you can see Mattia Ria giving it his all through Maggots and Beckett, and now it's foot to the floor, all the way down towards Stowe. ERS being used. Is it going to be enough though for the Red Bull man to make the move down to Stowe Corner? He's gaining, but it's not going to be enough. So this will have to be a Vale dive bomb by him as well on this last lap. But Zach Miles, absolutely incredible stuff by him. He is going to take the title race down to the last race. Zach Miles wins in style here at Silverstone. It's going to be Keanu Litard who has gone off, but he's going to get second as the line comes very close. Line comes up very quickly. Mattia Ria, then Dustin, Tyus Korsman, Danico, and Hassett in 7th position. But Zach Miles is going to take us down to the final round and give us a last race title deciding race, and it's going to be incredible to see Zach Miles up against Tyus Korsman, but Tyus Korsman's strategy does not pay off for him.
No, it does not. And actually, Keanu and Hazif, both on 21 lap-old intermediates, both picked up a puncher there at the end of the Grand Prix. That's why Keanu's gone off wide. He's picked up a rear left puncher.
Ooh.
And if you gave that one more lap for Zach, he would have been on the knife edge as well. Luckily for the likes of Keanu and Hazif, it literally was on the run to the line, so it didn't affect them too much. But if that was into the likes of Stowe or even Copse Corner, that would have been going straight off into the wall. So luckily for them, Zach Miles, though, what a drive. Probably, he might even say, the best of his career. And he takes the championship fight all the way down to the wire and does now bring himself with an opportunity to win the championship in the next round in Bahrain. Of course, another Middle East finale, but this time it's the one that usually starts the season. But Zach Miles, wow, what a performance that was, and that's a second driver to pick up 2 wins this season.
Absolutely, and make sure obviously you join us next week as well at 6:45, all ready for the highlights from this race, and we'll obviously have a bit more time in the pre-race because I'm sure the highlights will be a bit more less this time as well, because it was obviously a bit more flowing. And there were obviously quite and obviously the punches coming in right at the end. It could have happened a few corners early, and that could have costed the drivers who decided to stay out. So it was a good call by Tyus Korsman, but obviously just wasn't enough for him, unfortunately. Here are the full results though. Zach Miles versus Tyus Korsman in the final race, and this could be the only tier, depending on what happens in the other ones, this could be the only tier that we get a title fight in the last race. So make sure you join us here in F5. We'll be providing you with all of the lovely action, and this is all provisional. There is still there is things that can still change, but most likely Zach Miles will be able to have a fight in the last race for the title. Keanu Litard in second, Mattia Ria, Dustin, Tyus Korsman, Danico, Hassett, Felipe, Kryzix, Nicolas Oro, Snake, Jelty Korsman, Julian, Tristan, Meno, Victor, Widler, Zerky, Timo, Alessandro Finn, and Seb, the retirement.
Yeah, really nice race there from Zach Miles. And I mean, another person we have to shout out to as well is Dustin and Danico. Dustin from 15th up to 4th, and then Danico from 19th. And I think that was up to 8th in the end for him. So very nice drives from them. Hazif as well, he drove really well until we had to sort of let the other drivers through due to how old his intermediates were. But for Dust. Actually, I might have just realised why Tia's Korsman actually went into the pit lane. Keanu Lieto and Hazif both picked up punctures there. If that happened with Tia's Korsman, it could have been a lot worse effects, and especially with him fighting for the lead with Zach Miles, that could have been detrimental to his race. It might have even been him in the wall.
It could have been, and that's what I'm also seeing in the live chat as well. And it all came down really at the end to surviving, and unfortunately, and a bit of luck at the same time. And Zach Miles, it could have paid off. Everyone could have got punctures because it was all the way till the edge. So they all could have got punctures, and Zach Miles, Keanu, Tyus Korsman, there we go, got there in the end, could have won the race there. So it was definitely still a good strategy call, because I mean, if there was a few more corners even off that race, the order would have completely changed around, with some drivers picking up punctures right at the last corner in the last few meters of the race.
Yeah, certainly could have, and I mean, it's now all going to come down to Bahrain. It's going to be a shootout. 6 points. No, 7 points are in it, sorry, because Tia's Korsman picked up the fastest lap of the Grand Prix in the end there. So 7 points is the gap. That is ever so close. That could be the difference between winning and losing this championship. It could genuinely be down to taking the Grand Prix victory and your opponent getting 4th place.
Yes.
It's going to be an emphatic, a thrilling Bahrain Grand Prix. And I feel like this Bahrain Grand Prix will be one of the best Bahrains anybody will probably ever see.
Yes, absolutely. And, looks like Zach Miles is going to be jumping in. Now, he's already heard my voice today, as we obviously did the pre-race. We'll be hearing from him once more, and I'll drag him in. I'll just tell him to join the waiting room. And Materia as well. Lovely. Lovely stuff. So
it's lovely to get some interviews over in the rival league where I also do comms. It's very rare we pick up some drivers for interviews, especially in the console tier 2.
One thing I'll say is the drivers in this tier incredibly kind, especially with all of the comments and support they give as well. So big thanks to all of them. First of all, joining the box is Zach Miles. So I'll let you take it away, Max.
Hello.
Well, hello, Zach. Congratulations on your 2nd win of the season. First
Thank
of all,
you.
talk us through it. How did you find it?
Yeah, quali was very difficult. I was on pole for most of it, but I unfortunately invalidated my last run when I was quite far up, and that cost me. So I was down to P5. And then with the help of Zach Clark, I fought up through the fields to P1 eventually, got the strategy right, saved the tyres a load on the 2nd stint because I was in puncture territory. I was driving so slowly. And good race pace in the wets and inters. It was great.
Yeah, how did you feel at first when you first saw that it was going to be a wet race? Was you confident going into that? Do you like the wet weather conditions, or was it a bit of I might not be as confident around here?
I was confident in myself. I was less confident in my ability to not get killed in turn 1, but luckily we survived that, and we went on to 1.
Yeah, of course, that win brings you now within contention of the championship. 7 points is going to be the gap because Tia's Korsman did get the fastest lap at the end there, so he gets an extra point for that. What's going to be your mentality heading into Bahrain?
Just win Bahrain, basically. Hopefully. Try my best to win Bahrain. Hope for the best, because even if he gets P3 or P4, he still wins. So, we'll just do our best in ourselves.
Yeah, that's really going to be the thing for you, is just do whatever you can. And
Yep.
Also, one last question from myself. What did you think about Tia's Korsman actually coming into the pit lane for a fresh set of intermediates? Did you think that was an odd strategy, or did you think that you might have to box 2 in that Grand Prix?
On the first lap, I thought it was very weird, but when I realised he was going to get a massive undercut and I might have to box the softs at the end, If it dried up, it seemed a bit more scary because I wouldn't have been able to catch him on the softs maybe if he got big enough of an undercut. So it was a gamble for sure from him, which I personally wouldn't have taken if I was in the race lead. But yeah, risky one.
Yeah, it certainly was. Omi, do you have any question for Zach?
Nope. Other than first of all, thank you as well for the pre-race interview, and great to hear from you 2 times in one stream.
Yeah, thanks, mate. All right, see you guys later.
See you later as well. Now we have Mattia Ria coming in, and we have a question coming in from the live chat actually for you. What did you have for dinner? First of all.
Wait, what did I have? Yeah, I had some pizza, some free pizza. Yeah, it was pretty good.
There you go. Okay, now Max,
Okay.
you can take it away for some possible questions. For some questions, maybe about the race now.
Of course, first of all, congratulations, Mattea. It's going to actually be
Thank
your
you very
first podium of the season. How does it feel?
To be honest, it feels great because it was actually, I mean, the first clean race I had in a long time. So yeah, to finally be able to put everything to get together in one race, even though it's only P3 only, yeah. But yeah, it's definitely a good satisfaction considering how this season has been so far.
Yeah, it's been a pretty not poor season from your standards, but just overall, just the incidents that occur, and you unfortunately getting caught up in them. So first, another question is just talk us through how you found that race there, a very tricky one around Silverstone.
I don't know. As soon as I saw the race and on the radar in quali, I thought, oh my god, no, please no. But then for some reason in the wet, the pace was fairly good. I guess so I could keep up with the guys in front, and then on the intermediate, it was for me at least much tougher to get up to speed. And yeah, some laps I was like 2 to 3 tenths quicker than the guys in front, and then on the next lap I was like around the same amount, so 4 or 5 tenths slower than the guys ahead. So it was pretty difficult for me to judge how good my pace actually was. But in the end, getting P3 with the right strategy is definitely a good feeling.
Yeah, it's good for you as well. Does this now give you confidence heading into Bahrain? Are you strong around there?
Bahrain, not really. You know, it's maybe not my worst track, but one of my worst tracks for sure. But yeah, let's see how that goes. And I have a week to prepare for that race. So yeah, I'll give it my best. But considering that for this race I only practice pretty much 2 hours, then maybe I should consider not practicing at all for the next race, so I can maybe win. I don't know.
It could certainly be a viable strategy. I mean,
Yeah,
if you had 2 hours today,
Yeah,
maybe removing those 2 hours gains you 2 places. So
maybe yes.
yeah, congratulations,
I'll see.
Mattea.
Thank
Brilliant
you very
drive
much.
from you today.
Thank you.
Omi, do you have any more questions for Mattea here?
Nope, other than congratulations on your first podium of the season, and let's see maybe if you can upgrade that to a victory.
Let's see that. Thank you very much, man.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mattia Rio, and also for the pre-race interview a few rounds ago as well. Now, let's quickly run you through. The calendar. We've obviously been to all of the races now, other than the last one in Bahrain, and it's really been an amazing season. Every single race definitely having something interesting, and this race, even though I would say it has been one of the more calmer races this season of in terms of like action. We've had it basically kind of reminds me of like an F2 style race, like in real life, like an F2 race where it's action packed. Like F2 is, but then it's also not like every single lap we're getting something, so it's a bit of an easier one as well for the highlights for me. So thank you to the drivers after Miami, as we also had to exceed the limit that I set myself, which it wasn't easy, but there was just so much things of I didn't want to get rid of that, I didn't want to get rid of that, and then obviously I had to get rid of a few things to bring it down to at least 10 minutes.
Yeah, it was a race where overall it was just about of surviving really, and just getting your strategy perfect, making sure you were always consistent with your lap times. A bit like what Matteo said. He said about how he was sometimes 2 tenths quicker one lap, then would maybe drop off slightly on the next 2. So it's all about consistency in a race like this. And I mean, overall, it was a race where, as you say, a bit like F2. But the top 2 aren't out of it just yet, heading into the final race. So it's going to be now all about who is willing to risk every single overtake, risk every part of their car and put that on the line into Bahrain, and go for those bold moves, maybe bold strategies like we saw with Tia's Korsman today, and see what those drivers can do. So it's going to be a fun one next time out in Bahrain. Of course, usually the start of the season, so being at the end of the season is going to be a massive switch up, not only for us as commentators, but for the drivers as well. Because everyone's so used to it being either one of the first rounds or just not on the calendar at all. So it's definitely going to be a track where it can maybe throw up a few surprises, knowing that we hardly ever see that as a championship finale.
Yes, absolutely as well. And obviously, let's just quickly take you through the schedule coming up here at PSGL, because there's a lot of other action that goes on. On the 22nd, we let the PlayStation tiers do their turnaround, the Silverstone circuit, and we'll see what sort of action do those guys provide. On Wednesday, PCF1 has their first ever race at Canada, and yeah, first ever race, even though it's been in the game ever since as well. So it's not one of the circuits that's used, and it is a great circuit as well, so make sure you tune in on the 24th. And then our final is on the 25th of January on the Thursday, and make sure you join us for that at 6:45. We'll hopefully be live at that time, and from that you can catch up and get and then you can remind yourselves of the highlights as well from this race, and also see a bit of hot laps and some other stuff in the pre-race as well. But it has been an absolutely it's been absolutely fantastic once again to call another race with all of these drivers, and I think all of these drivers have been really great so far this season. And it's going to be one more race. It's been lovely also being alongside you, Max, as well in the commentary box. So what's your final thoughts and your final words to the viewers before the next time we're going to speak? It's going to be the day where the title will absolutely be decided, and also our final stream of season 35.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. Obviously, it's going to be a championship finale where nobody knows what's going to happen. The drivers won't have too much of a plan really coming in, so they're just going to go all out. It's going to be full of aggression between Tia's Korsman and Zach Miles, because they need to. They cannot rest at all in that race, or even in the qualifying. So yeah, it's going to be fun to watch. And I mean, thank you, Omi, for having me here for the season. Of course, I jumped in halfway through, so it's been a pleasure to be here. Thank you to everyone at home for watching as well. Me and Omi really do value the support. After each race, we go over the views, the analytics and everything, and yeah, it's really nice to see everybody supporting these drivers in a tier which might not usually get some love in other seasons. So thank you all very much for watching from myself. It's been a pleasure. Of course, we still have Bahrain next week. That's going to be an absolutely exciting Grand Prix. No matter what happens in any other tier, if there is a championship battle there, stay here in PSGL F5, because there's only 7 points between the top 2, and every point will matter, and it will be a down-to-the-wire Grand Prix. So overall from me, Omi, yeah, thank you everybody, and that's going to be it for me this week. Bye bye.
Yes. So that is Britain done. We only have one more round to go in this season, and yeah, as we mentioned, make sure you do stick with us next week and make sure you join us at 6:45, as I said, for all of the pre-race. However, what we will let you do is go off to the other PSGL streams now as well, of PCF2 and PCF4 as well. You can join Richie and Timon in the commentary box for PCF2, and then for PCF4 it's Byron and Sappy, a completely different lineup for F4, as neither of the commentators are able to make it, unfortunately. However, from us, thank you for watching. It's been absolutely incredible. We got the second most views last time out at Miami, and we are the lowest tier that stream. So thank you for all of the support, and it's going to be Vesti and Paul Chair, but even closer this time here in F5. So make sure you join us for the title final when PSGL returns next week on Thursday. Goodbye.
Desperately trying to hang on. He's got the inside. Up here is through on the left hand side. Hooks the apex, gets on the power nicely, and that is job done. Jarno Opmeer now to the last couple of corners now. His finest drive, his greatest drive, and he's done it at the Circuit of the Americas. He returns to the top step of the podium. Once again, the ghost is back. Jarno Opmeer wins the US Grand Prix in a stunning Grand Prix.